I think we've got it. No, I turned it off multiple times. I was using it.
You won't have to leave piles. You won't have
You Justin? Hey, I'm Paul. Pleasure to meet you, Justin. Thank you for serving for your
What's going on, Cameron? Good to see you, Paul. You doing all right? No, here's mine. But I don't have well, that's what it is. Yeah. Go make comments. You gotta have someone.
Whoa, don't go. He's got
It wouldn't hurt, actually. Me too, if possible. I'm sorry, I got tea in the car.
This is an extra copy.
It's not my copy, so yeah. They might need. I wonder if they needed one for her down there, won't they?
She's got one.
Okay. Or you ask first?
No, he's got it.
We can share, but it's not personal.
Well, there'll be something in the press about it.
Yeah, probably. We have a kind of a mascot. It's a top of a, not a dummy, but a mannequin that we always put in clothing and dress up and put blue wig on it, you know, weird stuff. During the bazaar.
Thank you.
I'll take a look. Sorry, that's all I got left. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Tracy said she's trying to.
How you doing?
But anyway, so today somebody buckled it in the front of their truck to take it back to the church, the storage and next to her name's Zelda. And the minister got a picture of him driving into the church parking lot with this strange woman with blue hair and a cab, and he said he was going to start a rumor that he was seeing some weird woman, not his wife.
Welcome, everybody. I want to go ahead and thank you all for coming. Appreciate your interest in
Recording in
what we're
progress.
doing. I want to first of all declare a quorum. We have enough. We got several folks out, but we do have enough for a quorum. I was going to welcome our Commissioner Liaison, Paul Higdon, but I hope he'll be back.
He's right here.
Oh,
Well, come up here and join us, Paul.
I
Good.
thought some of your board members might be showing up.
No, we got plenty of room for you.
Okay, thank you.
Get you up here where we can keep an eye on you.
Yeah. Likewise.
I like that. So you received the board, I'm talking to the trustees now, you all received the minutes in advance. Do I hear a motion concerning those?
I vote to approve the minutes as presented.
There's a vote to, or a motion to receive them or approve them.
Sorry.
Is there a second? Thank you. Any further discussion about?
For the minutes or the agenda?
I'm sorry, the agenda, excuse me. Paul, you messed me up. Approving for the agenda, excuse me. Any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Question, are our liaisons receiving the email notifications for the Macon County Board meetings?
I sent out the agenda on Friday to them, right after I sent it to you.
Okay, I just didn't see them carbon copied. But maybe on the earlier email that you sent to all the trustees.
I did send it to them. I didn't send it in the same email with you, but if you would like me to forward you that, I
That's fine,
can.
that's fine.
Okay, good question. Anything else? So all in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved. Moving on,
Who was the second on that one?
Ms. Catlin. Got it?
Got it.
Okay. Moving on to the minutes from June 27th, meeting there. Again, these were sent out earlier. Do I hear a motion concerning the minutes approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Approved.
again.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Ditto?
Ditto.
Okay. Any further discussion about the minutes? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Librarians report.
Hi, everyone.
Everybody's got that in your packet?
You should have a copy about my librarian's report. Can everyone hear me in the back? Okay, hi, I'm Abby. I'm the Macon County librarian. So I'm just going to let you guys know some of the fun things that we're working on. Okay. So in the areas of digital inclusion, we have digital navigators that are continuing to meet with patrons every Thursday at Macon County Public Library and the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month here at the Hudson Library. Through July 25th, 20 people utilized the expertise of our digital navigators. I didn't get that last Thursday. I didn't get a report from them, so that's not the whole month. But the very exciting thing is at the Crawford Senior Center in Franklin, they are conducting classes, and these are free classes for seniors there. They've done 2 classes, they're on their second round, and they have a waiting list. And they are, participants who attend all the classes actually get a Chromebook at the end, and this is all funded by a grant. And the digital navigators, as I said, through these classes, they walk these seniors through how to use that Chromebook, how to connect to do email, and all the wonderful things that you can do using that device, and they get to keep it at the end if they attend all the meetings. In health and wellness, I actually have some really exciting stuff in this area. So in efforts to improve the library's ability to facilitate telehealth appointments, contact was made with Amy Roberts, executive of telehealth for Mission Health. She expressed Mission Health's appreciation for the library's interest in improving community access. Many patients with their own devices can utilize the Wi-Fi the library provides, accessing their telehealth appointments from one of our private study rooms, or even in their car in the parking lot. For some patients, though, library staff may need to provide assistance utilizing a library laptop to access a telehealth appointment. Further research into how the library can best assist the community in accessing these services is ongoing. So telehealth during COVID became much more frequent and common. And as you guys all know, in this area, access to the internet is a little patchy, depending on where you live or how high on the mountain you live. And so, especially in this area where a lot of times doctors travel from town to town based on a schedule, if you need to see your doctor, a telehealth appointment might be the fastest way for you to do that. And at the library, you can come there, and if you need assistance in making that connection with your healthcare provider using that medium, we can help you. And we have private study rooms where you can have that private medical appointment and discuss your health, and hopefully you'd have the opportunity to do that a lot faster than if you had to go in person. So we see a real need there, and we just want to know people to know that they can, that we have options. And so I also spoke with Tanya Earhart with the American Heart Association. They actually have a program called Libraries with a Heart, and it provides libraries, public libraries, with blood pressure cuffs and educational materials for communities that they partner with. And this exciting program, we're currently researching it so that we can adapt that for the Macon County Libraries and the Fontana Regional Libraries. It's very exciting. They provide all the funding for it. They actually personalize it to each community, and they provide instructional guides that go with these devices so that patrons could come in and check them out, utilize those at home, learn how to take their blood pressure, how to monitor that, and then how to communicate what they find out to their healthcare provider. So before someone invests in a medical device that they don't know how to use, this could be a great way for people to kind of get familiar with that. And it's all for free. So we will host I love the name of this event, the Macon Schools Healthy. It's going to be a health fair that the health department, Macon County Health Department, and is spearheading to work with us. The health fair is going to be for students and families. It'll be on Tuesday, August the 15th. It's going to go all day from like 10 to 6. County Health Department, local health nonprofits, wellness professionals will all provide information and resources. Confirmed participants include Angel Medical Center, Community Care Clinic of Franklin, REACH of Macon County, WINCAP, Macon Program for Progress Head Start, the NC Co-op Extension, and Mountain Wise Tobacco Prevention Program. And that's just the major healthcare organizations. We have other ones that we're talking to, so that list is actually going to grow. I love this one. The Nantahala Community Library has begun offering a chair exercise program twice a week, and it regularly brings between 5 and 9 participants. So little things, little small steps, whatever, you get in where you fit in, kind of thing. We just had a blood drive. We have a blood drive every 2 months. We had just exceeded our expectation, and there were 50 pints that were donated on July 25th. They were hoping for 45, so they actually got more than they were hoping for, so that's nice. On the education front, the Hudson Library Kids Zone weekly program and the Nature Kids series with the Highlands Nature Center both averaged over 40 participants for each program, and one of them was like 70?
Over 70 for 2 of them. No, over 3 of them.
That's impressive.
All in this room.
All in this room. NCPL Children's Summer Learning Program had 433 registered participants logging reading hours this summer. As of July 26th, the kids enrolled had read over 3,500 hours. And there were only 20 and 18s enrolled in the program. We're really trying to figure out ways that we can make inroads into that population. We offered prizes, so maybe we just need to be a little bit more focused in getting the word out that there's prizes. Usually prizes, people are into that, so working on that. The youth supervisor, Angie Walker, has confirmed a series of youth programs with Western Carolina's Mountain Heritage Center. In October, December, and February 2024, and April 2024, they will cover such topics as crafts, games, agriculture, and holiday traditions. The Nikwazi Institute is working with staff to provide a program on the Cherokee heritage and history of Macon County and the surrounding region in November. On July 17th, upcoming MEC students visited the library as part of their orientation. Over 40 students participated in a short scavenger hunt, which familiarized them with the library website, the online catalog system, our study rooms, and our computer lab. Our partnership with the Macon Program for Progress Head Start program has been renewed for 23-24 school year. MCPL will continue to support and promote early childhood literacy, and MPP Head Start will promote and share library activities and resources available to children and parents. This is actually a really, really neat program that I think more people should know about. On July 26th, I met with Jessica Robinson from MPP's Self-Sufficiency Program. They have a community block grant that provides for this program, and it's amazing. The program assists individuals in need of education or training necessary to find long-term permanent employment that will permit them to become self-sufficient. Some of the supportive services offered for those who qualify are tuition for education and or training, uniforms and clothes for job searching, job connections, childcare, car repair, credit counseling, and ongoing coaching and support throughout their program, their participation in the program. Ms. Robertson was provided with information about the library's resources that can support the success of her clients, including our Wi-Fi access and computers, our free online courses, vocational resources, and our Caring Corner, which I'll mention a little bit more later. But she gave me some really interesting examples about what her particular program does. And for someone who is a single parent, who is living very, very, very much on the edge, and they need a car repair, their car breaks down, they can't go to work. If you need that car to go to your work and your car breaks down, what are you going to do? She has the funding to keep someone in their vehicle so that they can continue to work. I thought that was a really amazing program that I did not know existed. And she did not know about some of the resources that the library has. And so I'm hoping that we can work together to kind of see where we can fill holes for each other in helping this section of people who have issues that we could easily meet if we're already providing it. So NC Works will be providing resume assistance and job coaching session on October 4th. And we are we're working on planning a job fair as well. Okay, so next section is affordable living. I contacted Dana Engstrom with the Macon County Housing Department, and she sent over some information that we have posted at our library branches. They have a housing assistance programs that provide assistance with housing repair and weatherization for eligible applicants and improve financial and environmental efficiency. So our Caring Corner at Macon is a little section that is over kind of where our CDs are, if you know where those are. And it is a set of shelves that has donated items. We have a really generous community that donates items as needed. And some of those items are food and drinks, and travel-sized toiletries, hygiene products, socks, and first aid items. In the month of July, 49 individuals received notary services free of charge at the Macon County Public Library. Did everyone know that we provide free notary services? We do. We have notaries on staff. And I don't know if you guys have been to the tag office or other places where you have to get things notarized. They charge you for that. And we don't. We do, when people do say, how much do we owe you? We say, this is a free service. However, this is where our donation check is. So it is a free service. But if someone does want to share a love gift for that service, that's certainly fine with us. 700, this is an amazing number, 715 free lunches were distributed to kids in July at Macon County Public Library through the school system's lunch program. 715.
When you say Macon County Library, do you mean just in Franklin?
Yes.
Or all of the libraries?
That particular number was just the one in Franklin.
And you mentioned the study rooms. Is that all of the libraries or just Macon County?
So here in Hudson, they have,
We currently have one at Hudson Library. We're hoping down the road to add more, but we do have one right now, which is in use pretty much every day.
Okay, thank you.
we have 9 study rooms in the library in Franklin, Macon County. Okay, so next up, not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm gonna keep going. We've got recreation and leisure. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures that we posted on Facebook, but on July 6th, we had the Bubble Brigade event, and 150, we estimate 150 people came to that. And it was
Exciting.
it was a lot of fun.
It was.
It really was, children, there was music, it was outside, so we didn't have it inside, which would have been a little bit at the antithesis of a library, I guess. But we did have a lot of foam and soap covered children running around in the yard, there was music, it was a good time. So, July 28th, we had the Big Bang Boom Family Music Concert set to celebrate the end of summer learning. We had 38 kids and adults. Now that time we did actually jam out inside the library. It was pretty fun.
We did that here as well the previous day, and we had, I think, about 65 in this room. It was loud. It was great.
We had to warn people, it's gonna get a little loud.
Yeah, we warned people in advance.
So the Friday Summer Movie Series for kids so far has had 93 attendants. We've had a couple of daycares come by, like when it's raining outside and they were gonna go to the pool, they'll come by and watch movies instead, and that's been a great option for them to have a little flexibility. The upcoming exciting programs for kids include tomorrow guys, the North Carolina Symphony Music Discovery Program is happening. And right now, our adult programming staffers are going to start a weekly movie series in August featuring literary themed movies on Friday afternoons. And they're going to start out with Cyrano and The Hound of the Baskervilles. So right now, we're also planning a series called our Fall Family Fun Nights. And we're looking to do those the first Thursday of September, October, and November. We're thinking of running those between like 4 and 6 p.m. And the idea of those is that families can come, so there's going to be things for kids, teens, and adults, and grandparents. Whole families can come and have activities that they will do together as a family experience. And so we're working on the fun activities we're going to come up with for those. Next up, we have staff support. The FRL board just recently approved bereavement leave for employees, which will allow for additional leave in the event of a loss of an immediate or extended family member for all benefit eligible employees. Vacation leave accrual rates for employees less than 2 years was increased to 8 hours per month and to 9 hours per month for employees between 2 to 5 years of service. So next up is operational excellence. The 2023-2024 budget was approved by our FRL board. This next part is really exciting for me. The Macon County Maintenance Director, Mike Cope, and Site Manager, Jack Morgan, have confirmed that, I don't know if you guys have been to the Macon County Library, but our front doors, I've only been here a little over 6 months, but I understand that the saga of the front doors is a long and painful journey, akin to like Lord of the Rings. It has been, apparently originally there was automatic doors that you walked up and they would open, and that was apparently problematic. And then they did something where it was like a push button, and that also was problematic. People would get closed, the door would close on people, the doors would not seat correctly in the latch. It would interfere with the alarming system. Apparently it was just very, very much a headache, so they removed everything. Right now, we do not have any automatic doors. That is actually not, it's fine for disability regulations because there is no grade to the entrance. But we do have a lot of patrons in wheelchairs. We have patrons using walkers, and we see them struggle. We see them struggle with that situation. And county maintenance is aware. And we're all aware, so we're working together. They have assured me that it is a priority that they are researching currently. They are looking at options. Unfortunately, the way that the front is constructed, pocket doors are not suitable. It won't work, because that's what most grocery stores do, as you guys know. And so the easy answers have already been looked at. So they're having to dig deeper. So they are doing that. But that's exciting for us that we just know that they're looking into it and they're going to come up with a plan for us. Mr. Morgan also confirmed that progress continues at the Nantahala Community Library. And they were still waiting on the doors and windows. They were waiting on the doors and windows in June. They're still waiting on the doors and windows. But he assures me that once they get those doors and windows, that progress is going to be happening really, really soon. Director Fitzmaurice and FRL IT Manager Jim Walker have been in contact with Little T Broadband CEO Jeff Lee regarding the Macon County Broadband Committee's plans for expanding broadband to the Nantahala community and the new location for the Nantahala Community Library. Mr. Lee confirmed that Balsam West is quickly expanding fiber into the area and that it could be available on a faster timetable than originally planned. And while FRL has planned for the establishment of a Starlink satellite internet for the community library in Nantahala, it is considered a temporary solution, and we're very excited that broadband is moving faster than what original estimates that we have been given, so that's great news. And the other one is the director has notified me that due to some recent confusion regarding the material reconsideration procedures in the current collection development policy, it is currently being reviewed for clarification and possible modification at the next meeting. I don't have any other details about that, but I do have that information, so.
Is that in reference to the policy change that was made? That was not carried out properly?
I don't have any specific information about it, just that it's gonna be reviewed.
Okay.
Okay, so environmentalists, I'm almost done. Okay. On July 19th, we hosted a program, this is for environmental sustainability. Tamara Talley with the Macon County Extension Office and 4-H Youth Development. They had a program about honeybees and their vital importance to the local environment and sustainable agriculture, and what we can do to protect and encourage bee populations. It was really cool. They had a hive with a window in it, and so kids could actually watch the bees doing their bee thing. So nobody got stung. So that's good. That's all I cared about. On July 26th, over 50 kids and families attended the Seed Bombs program, which educated and encouraged the propagation of native wildflowers and plants and their role in local ecology. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Whew, that was a lot of stuff.
Any further, excuse me, any further questions or comments?
I have a question. How many people utilize the caring corner?
So it's a little hard to say. We have seen some people, we have seen some families. We do have some teens that, come over like from the early college, so they'll get some snacks and stuff. But a lot of times people will kind of come by and utilize it and kind of look at it. And the thing is, you try not to be too curious. You don't want to feel anyone who's using that caring corner to feel like people are marking it and noting it. But we do see things, it does need restocking. So that's nice. And we have received some really nice donations from families that they'll come and ask us, like, what do you need? What are you low on? And we'll tell them. And drinks, as you can imagine this summer, the drinks have been very popular because it's hot outside. And so not so much the socks right now, but this time of year. But wait till winter and the socks will definitely come.
Other questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Do we here at Hudson Library have one of these sharing quorums?
Not at this time.
We don't, we have talked about it, we haven't figured out where we would shoehorn it in, but, you know, we have talked about it, and we're still thinking about it.
Any others? Mr. Antoine, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here. It's our other commissioner liaison.
Oh, and just for the board members, I did include this graphic here. And this is just interesting because it is the end of the fiscal year for 22-23. And these are, we pull these off of our cardinal system, and it kind of tells us about books moving in and out of our system. So one of them is, the one on the front, oh, so do you see the one on the, no, the one that says from Cardinal, the grand total FL holds received from Cardinal and to Cardinal. Those are how many books that we're shipping out to the North Carolina Greater Cardinal System outside of FRL. The other one is total FRL borrowed, and those are the that is the Cardinal movement as well as within the system. So if someone in Highlands borrows a book from Macon, or if someone from Macon borrows a book from Jackson, that kind of shows like how the books are moving in and out. And it's kind of interesting to see how well our courier system gets used, because those books are traveling a lot within that system, and there's a lot of movement. And having access to other libraries worth of books, it saves us a lot of money, and it gives us, our patrons, the ability to borrow a whole state's worth of books for free. So that gives us just amazing access. So.
Okay, thank you again. Ms. Talent and Mr. Trask couldn't join us today, so Mr. Lovell, if you'll give us a report.
And Abby, I was going to talk a little bit about the books that are being moved around, so I'll elaborate on that a little bit more. That came from my notes from our Fontana meeting last time we had the meeting. But the other thing is that we approved at the Fontana meeting, we approved some personnel changes and some policy revisions. Abby went over that concerning the bereavement and the, what was the other one, Abby? Bereavement and vacation leave? Yeah, okay, so I'm not gonna talk about that. Here in Highlands, we have a community, what we call a community coffee with our mayor. We do that once a month. And that's a time when he comes to the library here. We have people, patrons here at the library and other people that are that live here. And they can ask our mayor anything they want. So that's always been very successful, and I understand that Silva now is doing the same thing in Jackson County. And did they just start that, Carlin, or?
I don't know, I didn't know they had started it, so it must be pretty recent.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing the same thing, so it's good here. It's a very successful program. The amended budget for the new fiscal year is slightly over $3,910,000 for what was for our budget for the new fiscal year that starts on July 1st. But I just wanted to say a little bit more about these charts that Tracy, the director, Tracy Fitzmaurice gave out. There were two of these. The first one was that it was Fontana's relationship with the Cardinal system. And what it shows is that the Cardinal system is the rest of North Carolina. And Fontana loaned more books out than we received. Specifically, we borrowed around the libraries all around North Carolina. We borrowed about 12,800 yet Fontana loaned out to the rest of the North Carolina almost 16,000 books. So it just shows you the massive amount of movement that we have around these books. The second chart showed how many books were being moved around between all the libraries in the Fontana system. And if you added those up, they were over 30,000 books were moved around. So if there's ever any reason to understand how well this system works with Fontana and our three counties of Jackson, Macon, and Bryson, Swain, that's pretty good indication. That's really effective, Abby. It just seems like y'all are moving books around all over the, not only in the Fontana system, but also around North Carolina. Mariana Black, we heard at our last meeting, Mariana Black is the library in Swain County at Bryson City. They too are doing some major renovations and trying to raise money. They just received a $400,000 grant. So I think they're at the point where they're getting close to $900,000 they have a much higher goal, but that's a good start. I talked about the personnel policy revisions. That's about it.
You want to mention anything else, moving on to Hudson Library, would you?
Yeah, yes. Is that next? Yeah, Hudson. Well, last time, during the minutes, you'll notice that we talked about the long-range planning committee, what we're doing here at Hudson. It's been a while since we had made plans to really look at where we're going in the next 3 to 5 years at Hudson. And so we formed this long-range planning committee and divided the board membership into a number of subcommittees. And we've done a lot of the work now to figure out what we really want to do. And the long-range planning committee has submitted their plans to the board. The next meeting, I think that we will decide exactly what we're going to do. Then the next step would be to start getting bids. But it appears that we're going to have to raise somewhere close to about $1 million for what we want to do. And we'll start that probably in the fall. We're excited about it. There are going to be some pretty significant changes here, and they're all for the good. So maybe this time next year when we have our meeting, we'll start to see some changes.
Mr. Chairman, Wood was reporting on the Fontana Library Board, and I have a question about that. Is that the time to do that?
It is. I was just trying to keep us moving, but go right ahead.
Okay. As you know, and I'm sorry, Wood, you have to handle this all by yourself without your other cohorts. But as you know, when I gave my challenge, you had pre-decided at that wonderful meeting in Silva that the policy would be changed. The policy was voted on. That the policy would be, in policy number 11, your appeal process timeline will change it from a 30-day response to an appeal to the next scheduled Fontana Library Board meeting. And what happened was, I asked Ms. Fitzmaurice for all the emails that had gone behind the scenes, because I thought it would interest everyone to know that prior to even my verbal challenge, many of you had said you were ready to vote. The challenge is important to hear what a person says. And I don't think we are really welcoming the community if, number one, we cut off their public comment, which was done ages ago. But when I take the time to appeal a book, which I consider trash, and Mr. Trask considered it trash, and you did not listen at all to my wonderful words and my wonderful research. That is not only an insult to me, and I don't want it to happen to anyone else in the community. But what you did, and now she's covered it, that's what it was read, that I asked the question, is that what, and you're right, that's what we're gonna cover next time? Well, I hate to tell you, we had the scenic drive to Nantahala, and you didn't even consider what I said, nor did you follow your own rule that you just changed to give me 30 days for you to maybe think about it, maybe ask community members what they thought about this particular book that I haul around with me everywhere. And I would like to know, wouldn't it be neat in the real world if, because you denied me and did not follow your own policy, that you would do the one thing I asked, move this book that is vividly sexual pictures for children into the adult section. Why is this so hard? So I would like to know, since I was denied the proper policy, and the policy was just changed, and you couldn't, that was the last meeting before this meeting, and we were told by Ms. Snodgrass that it was too difficult to plan a special meeting, which we all agreed it probably was too difficult to plan a special meeting, but you said in this that it would be 30 days. So may I ask again that this book be moved to the adult section where parents can give the approval for their children to read it.
We're all in agreement.
And you don't have to answer. Yes.
Well, I will say that, first off, the idea of 30 days and special meeting, that is a technical issue, and you're gonna have to, I think that's involved in our bylaws. So, you're
It
gonna
was
have to
involved in
talk
a
to us.
policy, and a policy change is what you introduced it to, and it's in the minutes. And actually, if you recall, Mr. Trask asked for clarification. And he asked if it would happen at the next meeting, because naturally he wanted Elizabeth's challenge taken up, because she'd been waiting. And so the whole point is, I just don't think it's proper protocol to change the rules as you keep going along. And I did exactly what you told me to do. Every 2 weeks, I was handing in more paperwork. I asked Ms. Fitzmaurice about anything that I might not have covered, but the fact that y'all sent emails that you had already decided to vote before I was even listened to, and I know some people got offended because I said when I left, well, thank you for not listening. What else would an etiquette teacher say? I mean, that is the point. I mean, you did not listen. And it was your board. It was your board. It was not this little board. But the thing is, are we going to keep doing this to the community? Because what you do to me, I'm in the community. And I want us to be a little more transparent and maybe nicer.
Especially if they want donations.
Yeah.
Diane, let me say that we listened to you. You
Oh,
stand.
no.
No, you didn't.
No, you did not.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's just calm down a minute.
Sure.
Let
Diane,
Wood have his
you had
say.
You had the forum for 20 minutes. It may have been more. No one had voted on this issue until you had finished.
That's true.
Should have been the next
Okay,
meeting.
so when you say we didn't listen, I listened to you, everything you said.
Does the rule say the next meeting though? And the rule was established
I
and
don't
was
know.
voted on.
You know,
Well, I can read
that's-
the minutes if you
okay,
can.
Look, your problem with the idea of a meeting, the 30 days, that's up to the executive director. That's not up to anyone on the board.
Excuse me, at the Silva meeting, you took a vote and you were in the minutes with Mr. Trask asking for clarification. So it's in the minutes. Are we doing, see, I'm from Florida, it's called Business in the Sunshine. Are we doing it here, and aren't we supposed to be doing it? And I'm only asking this, Wood, because of this. We, as a wonderful library association, and Abby has some incredible programs that are, unbelievable. Are we losing our credibility because we will not listen?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we?
Absolutely.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay, and y'all can talk about this at your Fontana meeting, but it's a question, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, that's fine.
The final thing I want to say about that is that I want everyone to know that you had the floor for as long as you wanted. No one interrupted you. I listened to you, and I looked around, and I'm certain that everyone, all the other board members did. And the issue was, I think you asked for this book to be moved to the adult section.
Right. And that's so
Okay, that's the
hard.
third book that we have discussed. I think you know the other books.
Right.
And the other two books, we made a decision on those two before that meeting. One, the request was to move it up to the adult section. And that was approved. We agreed. We had, I think one person wanted to ban the book and take it out of circulation. The rest of the people agreed that this book should be moved up to the adult section. I was one of those that strongly said and pushed for that, by the way. The second book, we read both books, just like we read the book that you had the floor on. But that second book, and personally, I felt that was acceptable for the group that it was in. You may not agree with me, but that's what it was.
Mrs. Catlin, I'm just curious, can you show us some of the pictures in there? I haven't seen this one yet. I'm curious what this archetype
Okay,
is.
we're not supposed to be doing
Let's
public
see what we
comment.
got.
Yeah, let me show you.
Wait.
About the book that you agreed
Are you telling me that's in the children's section? Yeah. And this was voted to stay in the children's section? Have you seen this?
Folks,
That's one of them.
everybody just sit down. Just sit down.
We shouldn't even have a discussion
Sir.
about this. I mean, have you literally saw the pictures in this book?
This is not an issue for us to bring to this.
It's a public issue.
Yes,
We're
it
the public.
Wait,
We're here to
wait,
speak against this book. I don't know why it's more important for y'all to keep this on the shelf than it is to take it off. That's my question.
you're bringing it to the wrong board. Ms. Catlin has approached this the proper way, and I thank you for doing that.
Can I repeat my question, what it is about this book that you think is worthy?
I think there was very little of that book that was sensational. I think
If it's very little, that means there's still a little, and even a little
I
is too
think
much.
it was,
Are we in the files here or what?
I think it was educational.
Education.
Education.
May I ask,
And so-
how many children are you?
The chair recognizes
I have 5
Leah.
grandchildren.
Yes, I think the issue is that number 11 states that the Fontana Board will recommend an action at the next scheduled FRL board meeting, which was to be September the 12th. So for it to be voted on that day seems to be the violation, which is causing so much confusion.
Right.
And if there was that much confusion in anticipation, I think the FRL board could have waited until September 12th and then voted. And then if they wanted to revise the language and change it on September the 12th for the next time that there would be an appeal, they could do that. But I feel that the way it was voted on.
So are you saying that we should have waited to vote?
June
5th.
Agreed, but
I think we finally have someone on the board that recognizes what the majority of the public in this room.
Yes.
During that, purposely left out of the loop.
I think that particular
She
issue
represents the
was
majority.
what I mentioned in
You don't
my
have the right to
report.
leave her out.
Is they're aware there is confusion, and it's my understanding that that is something that is to be addressed. That's what I've been told.
Is the board aware that this is for grooming children? That this is a grooming book?
The issue that you were speaking to as far as the policy, at the next meeting, that is supposed, it's my understanding that that's supposed to, is being looked at right now.
Because that's
For the
very,
freedom of
very
community for public input. With the freedom of community for
So, are we-
consent to
Anything
develop.
else?
And I'll say this, if the Montana board acted prematurely, I'm all for sticking by the rules, and I'm sure that'll be addressed at our next meeting.
So,
Are you all okay with your children and grandchildren seeing this book?
This book that she talks about?
Yeah.
Yes.
This book is being passed around the room. Are y'all okay with your grandchildren and children seeing this book?
So-
I've got grandchildren that are, my oldest grandchild is 13.
Well, I can answer you for my grandchildren. The answer is absolutely no.
so,
Okay.
The problem is the majority of folks in this family don't even know that these books are on their shelf. They don't even know
And
they're
that
there.
book is not on our
Parents are
shelf.
dropping off children unsuspectingly, finding stuff on your shelves out here. Most of these parents are not aware of this. If they did, this room would be a lot fuller than what it is right now.
Make them aware.
so, Ms. Catlin,
I would recommend it
I'm sorry.
be taken off the shelf tonight.
you've raised the concern.
Right,
You've presented it here,
yes.
and what further steps do you plan to take? Do you want to make another request?
No, I'm not gonna do that same book.
Okay.
But I think, wouldn't you agree that it's polite to whoever wants to challenge a book because they love their children and grandchildren, that you might follow your rules? That's the only thing. That's why we bring it up. And then I do have one more thing about this policy. When, remember Mr. Dyer, I asked you at our first meeting that in terms of reading the old minutes, that meeting I went to in Franklin,
Yeah.
and you were very gallant, and you were so clear. I had read an article in the newspaper that said that people who came to the meeting, and they meant a Fontana meeting, you know, I am a blonde, and I did not know there were two different boards at the time. I now know there are. But what I asked you about that was, did you advise Ms. Fitzmaurice to go get a lawyer and to cancel speaking? And you said no. That was not what I did. But what is in the minutes is this. The commissioners limit a certain amount of time for that. In Jacksonville, here's what we did. And I'm not comparing Highlands to Jacksonville. I'm just saying this worked. We had yellow cards and red cards. If you were on one particular part of it, you took a red card. If you were on the opposite, you took a yellow card. So when people came up to talk, it was yellow, red, yellow, red. And so you didn't hear a redundancy. But to cancel public comment is, it's too much. There has to be a way, and it's not enough to write these things out like we're doing now. It sounded like a great idea, and her lawyer thought it'd be great. You know, I was editor of Jacksonville Lawyer Magazine for 3 years. I know what lawyers do. They have opinions. And you get another lawyer, he's gonna have a different opinion. But we went with that, and she did not even have the courtesy to ask her board whether they thought, and we were in the room that night, remember, in here with the police? And they thought that she didn't need to take a vote because she'd listened to an opinion of a pro bono lawyer. I think it is a detriment to our community when we do not listen. We listen. And that's the same thing that didn't happen to me, and it may just be a coincidence, or maybe the Lord saying, you need to speak up because this is wrong. We have got to listen, and we have to find a better way to listen and care about what people think. I care. My grandchild is the age that book was written for. He is that age. My son came to town and he said, hide that book. It's a perfect book on the cover for children. The thing is, I don't want my 10-year-old to talk about oral and anal sex.
Thank you.
Right.
That is not what we want. And this is the most precious community we live in. Why would we not honor that? So I yield, Mr. Chairman, and those are my 2 questions for you. Wood?
I'd like to share something.
Sure.
Where's the book?
It's over here.
Have you seen it?
I've just not
Is
seen
there a
it.
I know, like, I
Move on.
purchased, yeah, it's not a library book. I mean, I got it from the library, but then I had to purchase it because they wanted to send it around, which is fair.
Can I ask your honest opinion about the photographs you just looked at, without even reading the content?
No, let me share something.
No.
Wait just a
That's not in
minute.
Macon County.
Wait,
That book
wait
is not
just-
in-
I'm sorry?
That book is not in Macon County Library.
Okay, I just want to share
Wait,
something really
wait,
quick.
hang on just a second. After Mr. Antoine speaks, we're gonna move on.
Go ahead, Mr. McKay.
You know, I'm speaking as a commissioner, but I'm more importantly speaking as a parent and as a citizen, okay? This book says ages 10 and up. You know, I'm not sure which one, somebody made a comment here. When I first started challenging these books, the majority of the emails that I received in my account had to do with parents telling me they had no idea that these books were in the library, okay? There was a time in this country where we understood morally, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you stood on. When it came to kids, everybody drew a line. Unfortunately, we're in a place right now where that's no longer the case. Now, my problem with that is, I don't really care if that's no longer the case out there. We do have an opportunity to not allow for that to happen here. Okay? Now, let's say this. To say that this is a book for ages 10 and up, the books that I brought up, and I was pretty vocal about these books. These were the books that I found in the library. The fact that these books had sexually explicit material, the suggestions that I made, every suggestion that I made was met with a hard no. Even down to the fact of realizing, a long time ago you had video stores, Blockbuster Video, you had sections within that store where if you had explicit stuff, it was in a different section so that kids could not access it. I don't understand how a business can actually have the morals to be able to do that, but a library, whether it be a public library or school library, does not have the same morals to be able to do that. One of the reasons why I brought this up is because I realized across the nation, these books were being found in school libraries. The parents weren't finding out about this until little Johnny was at home reading one of these books, and mom or dad walked by and saw that. So one of my primary focuses was to make sure, first of all, this was not being put in school libraries. But actually, I thought about it even in a public library, which is supposed to be a safe place. I don't care, you know, honestly, whose opinion matters to who at this point. This is not acceptable for a child to be reading. So it's not, and to me, that's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of right and wrong. And until we get back to a place of understanding what's morally right and wrong, these kind of battles are going to continue. Now, I will say this, personally, I'm not ever going to stand for this, and I will never support anything like this.
Or donate.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but at the June Commissioners meeting, I think I'm correct on that time, y'all help me out with this. It's my understanding you all had the county managers meet from Swain, Jackson, and Macon. And there's something in the works currently for the commissioners from each, I guess all three, come together to make recommendations to the different library boards. Am I correct?
It has
on
not
that?
happened yet.
Yes,
It has not happened, but help me out again. My recollection is something was gonna come out in August.
They met last week, the town managers did.
You left me out?
When you become a town manager. And attorneys and stuff reviewing the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. And we will probably, there's a slim chance we'll have a discussion at our next commissioners meeting, or they may present us an initial draft of the recommendations. The board has not seen anything hard yet.
So with that happening, you all are going to make recommendations or policy procedures, or could you go into a little more detail?
We'll
about
make suggestions. There's a memorandum of understanding between the three counties and FRL come up for review every 10 years. And those three counties got together and waited until after the budget, all that heavy lifting we had to do during the budget process, and have met, I don't know how many times, a couple of times probably, but they did meet last week, or might have been the week before, and all county managers and with their legal counsel, I think, agreed to some common ground so that all three agreements were kind of in sync. And they've made some suggestions. I've not seen them on paper yet, but as I told Diane, asked me about it, and I said, well, when this board sees it, when the Board of Commissioners sees the proposed draft, and that's all it'll be, is a proposal or a draft, which I think would be very appropriate to share with the library boards for input. So it's a working process.
Okay. Do you think this will help alleviate some of the misunderstandings or difficulties, or, I mean, that may be premature to ask.
I do believe that personally, in the direction that it's heading in, and after talking to our county manager and the discussion that he's had with the other boards, the other managers, I think it's definitely heading in that direction to help alleviate and really help with this whole situation.
Okay.
So we can't disclose really much more at this point because there's nothing really solid
Right,
yet.
right.
Because we still have to keep it.
I understand.
But it is going in that direction. I'm just saying that because I just want to just encourage everyone to understand that we are working really hard at this. It does take a little bit of time, but I'm fairly confident that we'll be pretty happy with the outcome, once we get to it.
Well, thank you all and the other commissioners for taking the leadership in this, and we look forward to what recommendations come down. We need to move on.
Mr. Chairman, there was an untruth spoken earlier. I want to address that. We were standing there, Diane and I, and Jim and Leah and all, watching Wood and all the people up there at the front. Okay, and I watched them the whole time. Now, I can tell you this, the only two people that really paid attention to Diane when she gave her talk was Ed Trask and the lady that ran the meeting. Two people were on their computers the whole time. One was on their cell phone. Wood was looking down at his papers the whole time. I wanted to see what these people wanted to do, and that's what happened in that meeting. I'm looking right at them. Now, the other thing I want to say, Wood made a comment a minute ago that this book wasn't as bad as the other one. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard of.
Wait just a minute. Everybody's got an opinion.
Sure.
And
I'm watching it.
I understand.
Sure.
You know what you observed. What
Yes,
you
sir.
saw is what you saw.
Yes, sir.
But that's not going to settle anything today here.
But with the last thing I'm going to say, when Wood said that this book right here, which my wife said is trash, this is the most biggest bunch of garbage I've ever seen in my life. When Wood said that, hey, that one wasn't as bad as the last one, let me tell you something, that was as bad as the last one.
Okay.
But could it be his leadership is telling him and everyone on the board, hey, we're not gonna take any more appeals on books. We're gonna turn them all down. We want to shut them down. That's what happened. This book is equally as bad as the others.
Sir, please sit down. We need to move on.
No, I have something to say. You chair this meeting by the consent of the governor. That is a foundational principle of our democracy, of our country. And I just want to know, I don't care what side you're on, do the people have a chance to have input? That's all we're asking.
I understand that. Ma'am, we're just following the policies and procedures that we have been given. We're not trying to make this up as we go. We're not trying to keep anybody from speaking. We're doing what we have. No, wait a minute. Wait,
I have to say, when freedom of speech is stopped, and you're starting to talk about a fundraiser beginning in September,
Forget about
you
that.
know, is this new policy when you shut the public out from having comments?
Ma'am, we haven't shut the public out.
Fontana did.
Yeah, the chairman's, he is being gracious.
I
Can we
agree,
just move
I
on?
agree.
Okay, let's move on.
Mr.
I just
Mayor, I
wanna
will say
know-
this. just-
Mr. Antoine.
Understand something, this is just the reality of it, okay? I was here during that meeting where they stopped public comment. A few issues there was, first of all, we had people here, my wife came up here with me, they wouldn't even let her in this room. When I came in, I cannot remember who was here, but there was a lady on the board who was extremely disrespectful in how she
Ms.
addressed me.
Womble.
And I had to sit down, or I couldn't stand anywhere. That was the first part of my problem. But the second part of my problem was, I could not, and I still don't understand, to be honest with you, all of you, what is the reason for not allowing public comment during these meetings? Now, again, we have to have order, because we do have it in our meetings, and I get that, and there's ways to do that. But I would think that we would actually put it in a place where we have order, rather than just completely silencing the public, because their voices do matter.
Process of order. If there's a
Ma'am.
good process in place, there could be order.
The legal counsel that came from Fontana Regional Library to us was to have written comment. We're trying to abide by that. I'm sorry if you don't agree with it. I may not agree with it, but that's the reality of what we're trying to live with. And we're trying to show as much respect to people as we possibly can. It's not, you know, we're trying to.
Respect to the children by removing.
We're trying to. Trying to work with the commissioners, we're trying to work with friends of our Fontana Regional Library. We're trying to go by the bylaws and the regulations and what we've been told to do. I know that's not agreeable to everybody, but we're doing the best we can to work with it. And I can't say any more than that.
And I would say, Mr. Mayor, thank you for definitely taking a moment to try to work with this as well. So
Yes,
that part of it, I want to acknowledge that, and I do know that you are trying, and I am very thankful for you doing it.
We are.
Thank you for that, Dan. Nantahala Community Library Facility.
I think she already reported on it.
Ed is
Anything
not-
else?
Yeah, Ed is not with us today. I think I did go over the information I have as far as the updates on that project. If anyone has any questions about that? The commissioners may have more information than I do about that.
Waiting on windows and doors before we sheet rock and do all that. There'll be a community meeting next Monday night at Chapel, the church across from the school. I can't remember, that Calvary Chapel or something. And Jeff Lee with the broadband will be making a presentation, and the library access to the internet for the library will be a topic of discussion. And I think the county manager and I don't know if Danny's going, but we'll be represented there.
And what date is that?
Pardon?
What date is that?
The next Monday, is that the 7th?
Okay, great.
I think those are 6 o'clock too, Eddie.
Any other old business? Acknowledgement of submitted public comments, I think we have 2.
It's right there.
Any feedback from the trustees concerning those? Questions, comments? Anything else?
You sent it around, both.
Yeah.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Is it-
New business?
other new business? Thank you.
I have a question. I was just reviewing the budget and financial policy for Fontana, but I was wondering about the local operating budget. And I was wondering if the Macon board was allowed to examine and provide input for the local operating budget
We have in the past.
this fiscal year?
As far as I know, I have to dig into that a little bit and check with Tracy as far as what kind of, but we'll ask, and look into that.
Well, I was just looking and seeing that, I think, you submitted your budget, and then Tracy submits that to FRL, and then FRL approves that budget. Is that how the flow goes? Okay. So I was just wondering, I know there's a lot of discussion about paying the staff a living wage, and I just wanted to know what input the local board had as far as that was involved, just for ways to help, cut the budget wherever necessary so that we can help.
I think in the past, I can't say every year, but we would be presented with a copy of the budget and review it. And even at times, Mr. Higdon, we came to the board, to the commissioners regarding the budget. So there's been some give and take. Y'all, Mr. Higdon, you may want to address that.
Yeah, you pretty well summed it up. Yeah, but it's a public document.
For the local operating budget. Is it a public document?
I don't have.
For the library, for Macon Library? Like, where can the public access a line-by-line operating budget for Macon libraries?
I'm not sure where. I know we submit that to the county manager as part of ours, but that's not the library, but that's just a proposal. So I can find out what, the local budget, to my knowledge, is not posted, but I can find out. Sure. I'll look into that and I'll let you know.
So are you requesting that
Yes,
we
yes,
each
yes.
get a
I
copy?
think, yes, that would be appropriate for each.
That would probably come from the commissioners, I would think,
Receive that.
and the county manager.
Is it different? Is it different from what the commissioners have us in their budget?
Yeah.
Is it more detailed? Is that?
Well, all they do, the local Macon County Public Library submits a request to the county manager for allocations. And then, I guess y'all go back and forth on that.
Okay.
Maybe not. Then whatever we approve, we don't see. The only thing that we as a Board of Commissioners see related to libraries is the annual audit of the Fontana Regional Library. We do have the authority to request other information, which we will be doing, and that'll be part of the MOU.
If you want more details.
To the full board for more detail on that aspect, because we got hit up that we were wanting to cut raises. We don't even know what the employees make. We just allocate, we give $1.1 million a year, Macon County does, to the Macon County Library Board.
We don't get to allocate where that goes.
No, we don't have no strings attached to that. We write a check every month and send it to the finance officer at FRL.
And 90% of it goes to salaries.
So that's what I'm curious about. Just wanted to see that line by line and see how that's, Macon County dollars are being utilized.
Provide that.
Okay.
And those employees should be making.
She says she can fix it. Okay. Any other new business? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Go ahead. I'll second again.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.
I got really.
Recording stopped.
Well, we almost did.
Listen, I don't know the last time I was going